Hey there, fellow duplicants, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included Bionics, Episode 4, Eco-Friendly Rechargeable Batteries. We're gonna have a lot of random water. So, maybe, hopefully, the next time the printer pod can print stuff, it will be a Bionic duplicant. That's what I'm hoping. I would love to get more that don't have bad bugs. So there's a facility here. Looking around, let's see what else we discover. A new biome over there, because that's abyssalite. But not much else. And then this, of course, was the polluted water. Cool. Did they finish the strength booster? No, but I could make one now. Actually, you know what? I might do a construction booster instead. And I can do a strength booster on top of that. So let's prioritize the carbon skimmer a little bit higher. And the research for the liquid reservoir is almost done. It's like 1920. There it is done. So, what I want to do here is, I'd like to probably hook up a supply of fresh water in a reservoir to feed the carbon skimmer. And maybe also have it... So here's the thought. Once the water sieve is done, in order to preserve power, once this liquid pump pumps liquid, we should use the liquid that is pumped for carbon skimming, which means the water coming off of the water sieve should be prioritized for the carbon skimmer. In other words, that way we don't have to run two pumps. We can only use one, and it will be a pseudo closed loop. So the water coming off this sieve should drop liquid for the carbon skimmer. I think what I'll do is I'll put a liquid reservoir here. Actually, maybe one over here. It doesn't really need to be in the base. And then what ends up happening here is that this will lead to the reservoir. And I'll snip the plumbing there. So this project is now highest priority. Can I flip it? I could. I don't really care. I mean, it's a difference of like 10 sandstone or something, so it really doesn't matter. So here's the carbon skimmer, and it needs a clean water liquid intake, a polluted water liquid output, and then it will remove carbon dioxide from the atmo. Alright, that will work. So the way this works is we've got this liquid reservoir, and you know what? I might actually have two reservoirs. One for polluted water as well, just so that we can pool the polluted water. So clean water comes off this water sieve and is prioritized to go into this liquid reservoir, which then feeds the carbon skimmer, and then the carbon skimmer dumps its polluted water into this polluted water liquid reservoir, and then feeds back to the water sieve as like a closed loop. And in order to prime the closed loop, I can pull water, fresh water, from this aquifer to have at least enough water in the closed loop for the water skimmer to start operating. So with all of this, we're also going to want a pump here. I'd also like to raise the water level here. So I'm going to build some flooring here, which will displace the water upwards. And then I'll have a liquid pump here. So the other thing I wanted to do is if our clean water overfills, if it's overflowing, and this gets a little confusing, so I apologize for its confusion. If the clean water is too full, I also want it to flow back into the aquifer. So this is a splitter where the clean water from this reservoir can go into the carbon skimmer, or it can go into this liquid bridge. And this liquid bridge will act as an overflow. And then what I'm going to do is have just a liquid valve, which is slow and manually controlled. And thinking about where I'm placing this, I probably, if I do want a transport tube here, I'm going to move all of this, shift it left, so that it's less in the way. So I'm sorry that I keep like doing revisions, but I'm just trying to like future-proof this project. So we'll have the two reservoirs over here instead. So this is going to be clean water and dirty water. It fundamentally hasn't changed. I'm just making sure I have room for overflow. So we're going to do a physical liquid valve here as a flowback in case the clean water that is in the loop gets too full. Which then can fill up our aquifer over there. So once it's all built, I'll run you through its operation again. Just to make sure that you all understand what's going on. And Scorpio and Thomas Rose, thank you for the gifted subs. And Baby Seaber for the resub. Cheers. I connected the polluted water? Let me take a look at that. Oh, yeah, I connected the polluted water. I see what you said. All right. This is the flowback. There we go. Done. And now there's plenty of room here for, like, transport tube infrastructure. If and when we want it. So all this construction project will be prioritized to, let's say, 7. Why not just use a bridge at overflow? Bridge has priority. I'd rather have a valve. I'd rather do it manually than leave it to automation. I don't want to give up the locus of control to... Because I want to essentially be able to notice. I want that prompt of, hey, this is filled up too much. And then the last piece of this project is to feed extra water on demand to the clean water reservoir. Oh, that's backwards. So what I'm doing here is setting up a liquid bridge. So the liquid bridge also directs the direction of water, as you can see with the arrow here. So it only lets water travel in one direction. Because I don't want clean water off of the sieve traveling back to this pump, right? That would be backwards. But before I do that, I need to replace the walls of this liquid storage because the sand will collapse and it will be a bit of a problem. So the carbon skimmer is ready to go. It just doesn't have a liquid input yet, and that's what we're working on here. And then for this specific pump, I'm going to have it be signal switched so that I can turn it on and off at will. But it will also need to be traditionally powered as well. So we'll run power like that. And I'm changing around some of the boosters that we have. So Tanuki just got the construction booster and the strength booster. So let's change priorities for Tanuki. Tidying, building, supplying, storing. In fact, everyone can supply and store, so... because everyone has strength boosts now. And doctoring. Oops. Looks... good. And they'll be out of the liquid reservoir here in short order. They're almost done with that. Nice. Alright, we have a megajoule of power. That's pretty good. I'm actually going to reduce the storing and tidying because I don't really need them doing it over other priorities. Now, yes, I am going to need access to this area here in order to build these pipes. So what I can do, because duplicants can climb too high ledges, is I'll just build a door here to get access to this one tile, so it's reachable. And now everything ought to be reachable. And we should... there we go. So here's the start of the water. Oh, it's flowing back. I see. So this valve needs to be closed for it to work. So in the morning, because they're defragging right now? Oh no, they're not defragging. So we'll close this valve so it doesn't feed back to the aquifer. Alright, let's flick it on and see it working. So clean water gets sent down into the reservoir for clean water. It gets backed up at the valve. And then the rest of the clean water goes to the carbon skimmer, which then uses the clean water to clean the carbon dioxide in the base, feeding that polluted water back to this liquid reservoir, and eventually back to the skimmer, or the sieve, which then cleans it again as a bit of a closed loop. And that's probably enough water to feed the system, because we are storing water in the liquid reservoir. So instead of having to regularly pump it, we just have it mostly passively work. So it's a flow loop, cleaning all that carbon dioxide. So here is a quick snapshot of what the carbon dioxide in the base looks like. So most of the polluted oxygen has been cleaned up. There's a few pockets here or there that are stubborn, but the vast majority of it is clean. And then there's carbon dioxide in this vicinity. And it's going to be reduced by a lot. Cool. Stress is a result of getting wet, I think. Yeah. So the next priority I have is build rechargeable batteries. Having to constantly make new batteries is a huge production drain. So let's not do that anymore. So I'm going to dig a ladder down here to the abyssalite. And the soldering station has the ability to queue up eco batteries. And I want, I'm going to go crazy. I want 24 eco batteries. So the eco battery recharging, this is how it's going to work. I'm going to feed the... Ooh, I see the valve is kind of in the way. That's okay. I'm going to feed this cold generator is going to be dedicated for the rechargeable batteries. So it's going to feed power to this smart battery, which then feeds power to a transformer over here, which then will feed power to power bank recharge stations here. I'm going to need more refined metal for this, so let's get 10 more refined metal queued up. So let's hook up the wiring. So wire to the battery. Battery, oops, with a wire bridge. Over to the transformer, and transformer to the two power bank chargers. Actually, hold on. I don't want them there. I want a storage bin for the empty and full eco batteries next to the rechargers. There we go. And I want to push actually everything one unit to the east so that I can build doors. That's going to be important later on. So that I can have a nature reserve without getting blocked. There we go. Did I turn off the bomb production on purpose? Yes, I did. But I'll queue up 3 more now that we used up the 3 that we had. I'm also out of algae. Let's dig up a little bit of algae. Make sure that our oxygen generation doesn't halt. And I'm going to dig this little cave so that this carbon dioxide doesn't get trapped and can get skimmed. So if we take, again, if we take a quick snapshot of the carbon dioxide, the vast majority of the carbon dioxide that had built up in the base is now clean. It's been purified. There are some pockets of polluted oxygen. And what I can do is I can, if I really care a lot, I can place deodorizers. A few more deodorizers to try to clean it up. Because most of the polluted oxygen that's getting added to this room won't escape because of the deodorizer here. So we can eventually remove it from the rest of the base. No bionics to print? Okie dokie. And I'll prioritize the construction projects for the recharging stations and then also the ladder. Oh, I have blueprints. More underwear? Sorta. Shorts. If you're wondering, that's just so that you can change the way people look in terms of their skins. I don't really care about doing that stuff, so I just leave it alone. So algae is enough to produce oxygen, but it's awaiting delivery. So I can raise this up to like a 6, just to make sure it gets done in a timely way. And then the ladder to the abyssalite is almost done. So there's another pocket of abyssalite here. And there's some sort of volcano or something here. What is this? So in order to find volcanoes, if you go to priority, emergency, and map over it, you'll have an alert. And this is a hydrogen vent, which could be very useful for advanced power generation later on. So hydrogen vent to the northwest. I'll try to remember that. Are there any other ways to get more bionics? Sort of. There is a story trait that gives you a pseudo-bionic. But no, I just have to wait for the printing pod to offer it up to me for the most part. Alright, I do see that I have like 0 joules available to me, so let's make 9 more metal banks as a stopgap measure until I have proper rechargeable batteries. Are you stuck? Yeah, no, Tanuki. Oh, there, you teleported through a floor. Perfect. And I'm out of copper, but no problem. I'll just mine some more up. Idleness. Now you guys are stuck. Cause I don't have a ladder here. Dig that sandstone. And build a sandstone ladder. There you go. So in this box, I want industrial product. No. Power bank. Metal power banks. As a 9. And eventually the eco banks once I have eco banks. So abyssalite is like a perfect insulator, separating out temperatures between biomes. So I don't want to breach the abyssalite layer between biomes if I want to keep the individual biomes roughly the same temperature that they were originally. So I'm digging out abyssalite without having to do any irreparable ecological damage. So I'm like tunneling through the wide abyssalite here. And any places where I need ladders, like here, I'll place ladders because they can't. That's a vertical drop; they won't be able to traverse. In fact, I'll just place a lot of ladders so that they have no problem moving around. So now that we're mining up abyssalite, over here at the soldering station, you can see that we have 24 eco power banks queued up. So each duplicant that we have right now can have 4 internal power banks, and I have 3 of them, so that's 12. So I'm making twice as many batteries as we need so that I can have half of our batteries within the duplicants and half of our batteries being charged. That way we can regularly swap. But because we don't have any power available to us, let me make sure we've had 2 days of power currently in the duplicants. So I want to make sure that I'm making regular boring metal power banks as a stopgap, because if I make the eco ones and don't charge them in time, all the duplicants die and I lose. Now that I have the power bank chargers, though, we can enable and allow tinkering of this coal generator, copy the setting of the last smart battery into the new smart battery, and then hook up a automation wire. I'll make it bubblegum pink. And actually, this is the most important because I don't want it running unless I have automation for it. Is abyssalite that perfect temperature insulator? Yes. So if you take a look at the abyssalite, it's a resilient crystalline element that has a hardness that is nearly impenetrable and a thermal conductivity of 0. 0.000. Basically, it can't conduct temperature. So if you take a look at the temperature overlay, slime biomes are warm. You know, there might be some, this biome's hot, right? It separates out the different individual biomes so that you don't have like ice biomes immediately melting and magma immediately burning you up, and you know, it keeps the temperature stabilized. So if you destroy the abyssalite between biomes, you allow heat to equalize between the two biomes, which can be devastating depending on the biome. In this case, it's like the balm lily and the slime biomes, which are roughly the same temperature. But if it was like balm lilies and ice, if balm lilies and ice equalize, you know, the ice essentially melts and you end up with a giant pile of melted slush. Not so good. And this is a salt and saltwater biome with some fossil. Alright, what the hell is going on with this? Am I out of refined metal? I am. Okay, so I'm going to manually disable this coal generator because no one's doing it. And highly prioritize the rock crusher so we can have this automation wire. Because without this automation wire, the coal is just burning and it has nowhere to put the power. So it's very wasteful. The geyser here is a polluted water geyser, which I'll probably never tap. Unless I desperately need polluted water, which I don't. Most of the water geysers make very hot water. So although it's nice to have like free water, it comes with the problem of being hot, which can cause a lot of other problems. Most things in a base produce heat, and later on, if you don't manage your heat, which is way more important when you're trying to farm, because crops for farming are more temperature sensitive. So it's less important for us to manage our heat, but regardless, you don't want to just keep dumping heat into a base without managing air conditioning. So it's kind of a late game thing. But like the rock crushers, the coal generators, all of these things generate heat, and given many cycles, you'll have a hot base, which can become problematic for survival. So, come on, what the hell is with this automation wire? I set it to 9. I have refined metal. Just do the thing. I don't know what's going on here. Why they're not building it. Oh, now you're building it. Because the boss is watching. God. Jerks. Okay, now with the automation wire, the coal generator will turn off when there's no room for power. So we are now making eco power banks. So here's a empty eco power bank. And now that I have an empty one, I'm going to put it as an industrial product empty eco power bank to store it next to the power bank chargers. And then they deliver the power bank. And then each charging power bank, each charger requires 400 watts. So this battery and the wires can handle 2 power banks. So I can charge 2 at once. And it sits in there, charging back up, and then is reusable. It's a renewable power source. So I want to make 23 more eco power banks, and then I'll stop having to manufacture them constantly, which will be delicious. So each eco power bank is how much of light? Um, 200 maybe? Okay. So we'll just keep mining up a light so that we have enough for all the eco power banks. But here they're charging. We need to tinker. Oh no, that's already tuned up. So the coal generator tuned up produces 900 watts, which is enough for the 800 watts of eco power banks. So the economy of that works out pretty well. With that said, no, it's actually more than what it can handle, right? These are, they are a little wasteful, so they require 80 more watts than gets put in the battery. So as you can see, the second one turns off periodically. Not a big deal. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm not going to try to make it perfectly balanced, 900, 900 or whatever. It's mostly going to be charging. And when it powers off, it does, it goes idle and then turns back on its own. And because I don't suspect that my duplicants are going to perfectly deliver the empty eco power banks, it means that this smart battery will probably top up. So now that we have powered up eco power banks, we can also put them in this storage bin. So I have this storage bin as a high priority so that when they go to replace their empty batteries, they drop their empty batteries really close to the charger. Because if I had the storage bin out here, they would drop their batteries and it would like fall down here and gets annoying. So the duplicants are not careful about where they dump their empty batteries. They just like throw it on the ground like poo. So having a storage bin next to where you recharge it will keep them from, you know, disposing of their empty batteries stupidly. So if you had like a vertical tunnel all the way down into the lava, they would just like dump it into the lava. They wouldn't care. So you got to be careful about that. So I've made 6 of the eco power banks, and now we can track them up here. So I'm going to stop tracking the metal power banks. We're not really using metal power banks anymore. We can phase those out. And they're defragging. So, next project. I'm going to have you guys decide on what to build next. What to build next. There's a few different things I can do. I could head towards crude oil for lubrication. I could utilize heavier power generators, like the hydrogen vent that I saw. I could start farming for fibers. So that would entail going for thistle reeds, looking for thistle reeds, and yeah, here we are. Or thimble reeds, sorry. And start thimble reed farming, which allows for clothing and suit production. So before I put up this poll, when it comes to suit production, the bionic duplicants are very hardy compared to regular organic ones. With that said, the hottest part of the oil biome is going to be too hot for them. So the hardest part of the oil biome will scald them and kill them. So they're very heat tolerant, but not invincible. So you still probably need Atmo or exosuits at some point. And because in this series I'm not ranching is against my self-imposed rules, we're not going to go for the Dracos. So farming for fibers is going to be the only way for us to make clothing, unless we get lucky with printing pods, but I don't suspect, I'm not going to rely on that. We could also build bedrooms or barracks. I could also build the nature reserve or other. viewer suggestions. So what do you guys think I should build next will be up to you. Now that we have solved our sort of like gunk and power crisis and carbon dioxide buildup. So from the start of the stream, we immediately did the gunk because mopping up gunk is annoying. And also, if you don't use a gunk extractor and the duplicants have to like puke up the gunk, it's a stressor too. So much the way that in Oxygen Not Included, if you don't have access to toilets, the duplicants will just relieve themselves, but then they'll be really upset by it. Gunk works the same way, more or less. So we managed the gunk. We managed the buildup of carbon dioxide and polluted water. And then we managed the renewable power. So we've solved 3 major crises already, and you guys can vote on the next one. So I'll give you 1 more minute to vote in this poll. And it looks like fiber farming seems to be the popular option. But I'll let the poll just sit there. But if we did farm fibers, there's obviously a lot of thimble reeds this way. That would be acquirable. That's my best bet for location. Ooh, all right. I guess snazzier green suit. Jazz lover, you're gonna wear this. So it increases the decor in a small area effect around the user. And because Jazz Lover is our miner, he's the one that's going to be like running to ugly spaces. So what's funny about when you wear this is everywhere they walk, they make it pretty. And I usually give it to the people that have to do the most travel, because you can add a lot of decor to your base, but you're never going to add decor to like mining tunnels. So I usually give the really snazzy suits to the miners, so at least it's not super ugly directly around them. Because one of the morale effects here is last cycle's decor average. So basically, the prettier the surroundings for the last day is, produces morale bonuses for them for the current day. So later on, when our duplicants are at much higher level and have much higher morale demands, it's going to be important to make the base pretty so that they can not be stressed. Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included Bionic Booster Pack DLC Marathon, which originally streamed live on Twitch February 15th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below, but please keep in mind I asked for no backseating, and also feedback cannot be incorporated because the entire series was already streamed once as a marathon. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow duplicants.